All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today's topic is on family wellness. But before we get started, just a couple of those normal items to take care of. We will have time for questions at the end of the presentation, and you can type those into the question box in the lower portion of your control panel. We will be posting a recording of the webinar on our blog, the link for which will be shown at the end as well. And if you would like a PDF copy of the presentation today, there will be a link to download that on that same post as the recording. If your question does not get answered today, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. So, for today, we'll be discussing ways we can help our entire family be healthy. We'll touch on the big four: eating, exercise, stress, and sleep. Now, one disclaimer I do want to make before we get started is that no matter what kind of family you have, or if it's just you, these tips can help. So if you have someone that didn't tune in today because they thought it was just going to be for kids, make sure you have them watch the recording that's on the blog. Some of those tips are obviously going to be geared towards younger kids, but we're all pretty much still kids at heart, right? So hopefully you'll be able to find some great ways to stay healthy today, whatever that family situation is. Let's start with eating. Eating healthy can seem tough, right? Kids are picky, we're busy, our families are busy, I get it. But we can still work to become better and find small things to improve. Let's first touch on a few things getting kids on the road to getting more healthy options in. First one is really lead by example. This is a big one, and not just with eating, as we all should know. Our kids are watching us all the time. Even if you think they're not, they are. You can say, do as I say, not as I do, as much as you want, but your actions are going to have a bigger impact than your words on them. So if you can show them that you practice healthy eating, they're going to eventually pick up on that. My kids are a bit older now, so they don't do it as much, but when they were little, they would always want to eat what I was eating. Anyone else relate to that? And most of the time, it didn't matter if it was healthy or not. They're just so curious about kids that they just want to try everything. So again, if you can be that role model that has a healthy side of veggies on your plate at dinner, you drink water instead of soda, you snack on healthy options, they will see that and it will feel normal to them. Now, this isn't always going to work. They are kids after all, but it will work sometimes, and that's what we're after: progress, not perfection, right? We'll talk about some healthy snack and meal options here in a couple slides, so if you aren't sure yourself on what to choose, we'll have some ideas for you. Next tip, include your kids when it comes to that food. Bring them grocery shopping or bring them to the farmer's market so they can see and help pick out the ingredients, see what they look like before you actually cook it or add it to a casserole, whatever it may be. Like I said, kids are so curious, and many of them will be intrigued by seeing what goes into their food. And after you get the ingredients, let them help you prep. I know some of you are saying, but that's going to take me so much longer because when my kids, quote unquote, help, they pretty much wreck everything. I know, and they might. But again, the goal here is to get kids interested in food and cooking at home. So sacrificing some time to help them be engaged should be worth it if you want them to succeed. And if you're running short on time or have a busy night, then just don't do it that night. It's really simple. But find a time when you know you'll have some extra minutes to spare to really give them the opportunity to help out and get interested in that meal making process. Next idea I have, give them choices. You don't like every single healthy food out there, right? So don't expect your kid to. Give them some different options to choose, and you'll gradually learn their preferences and be able to tailor their meals a little easier. Giving them choices can help empower kids and make them feel that they're involved in their meals. Also, don't stop offering one food if they say they don't like it after one taste or one meal. As we know, kids' preferences change very quickly, so something they don't like one day can be something they decide they like the next. So don't force it, but also don't give up on foods right away. Keep it in the rotation to see if they eventually warm up to it. Okay, let's move on to some tips that apply to everyone, not just those kiddos. Put new healthy options in with old favorites. Add in some veggies to scrambled eggs or omelets, or spinach into grilled cheese. Put broccoli into a favorite casserole. Small steps are the key, and sometimes taking the steps when our family doesn't even know they're taking the steps can go a long way, right? And when you're adding things they don't even know that you're adding in there. Next things to think about, have healthy foods visible. Put those apples and bananas right on the countertop. If you have not as healthy snacks in the house, put those ones somewhere that's not as convenient to get. I know that cookie jar and the candy bowl are fun to have, but they make it so easy to mindlessly grab those treats way too often, right? Make your candy bowl a fruit bowl, and I bet you'll choose that option and your kids and your family choose that option more often than you are now. So it's simple. If it's out there, they're going to eat it. Out of sight, out of mind, typically for those not as healthy snacks. How about using a slow cooker or instant pot? These can be your absolute best friend if, let's say, the adults in your house work, whether you have kids or not. These things are great options. You can make plenty of healthy things. I'm going to share a couple recipes here in a minute, but it's so perfect. You just throw those ingredients in, let it cook either during the day if you have a slow cooker, or with the Instant Pot, let it cook for however long it takes while you do some other chores, have some quality time with your kids, or even get a quick workout session in. So and this can be used in the summer too. I know it seems like it's more of a winter thing, but don't think that you can't use this stuff in the summertime too with the slow cooker and Instant Pot. But we're coming into a good season where most people are going to use it, so take advantage. Freezer meals and meal prepping are more fantastic ways to plan ahead, but still have those healthy options. So obviously the purpose is to make things ahead of time and then you can throw it in the freezer for future meals, right? So you take a bulk of time that you know that you're going to have to save time when you know that you're going to be too busy to cook a meal possibly. Because then all you have to do is either unthaw it when they're ready, or if it's in the fridge, stick it in the microwave and your meal is done. And you can do those weekly or monthly or however you want. There's lots and lots of options online. That there's different ways to bulk cut things, to bulk buy things, prep things, all that stuff. There's so much online. But again, I'll give you one recipe here in the next couple slides. Meal delivery service is another one of those new great ideas and new things in healthy eating as well. If you can make this work in your budget, they are fantastic. You get fresh ingredients delivered right to your door, and you can make an experience out of making the meal. There's so many different companies popping up. We have HelloFresh, Sunbasket, Blue Apron. The list really is getting bigger every day. So you do need to do your research to see what would be right for you. And like I said, they might not be in everyone's budget, but some are actually pretty reasonable. It's an option to explore anyways, because again, if we're busy, we need some of those things. And if it's worth it, hey, take a look. All right, how about some examples of healthy foods and some recipes for you? I'm going to start with some healthy snacks. Honestly, we just need to keep it simple with snacks. Fruits and veggies are always going to be the best snack option out there. They're easy, they're healthy, you don't have to prep them hardly. I hear some of you thinking, but they don't have a long shelf life. I get it, I do. But if you have these options for the kids, adults, and everything in between out, visible, they're going to get eaten. Like I said earlier, you put these ones out on the counter or the table or front and center in the fridge if they need to be refrigerated. You'll learn how much to buy after a bit. And you can also get frozen veggies that unthaw quickly as well. So those will last forever. Not forever, but you know what I mean. And also have a variety of those shorter shelf life ones and then the hardier ones so you don't have to go back to that store in the middle of the week. Let's say have your berries and your bananas for Monday through Wednesday, and then break out the apples and the carrot sticks for the rest of the week. So you have options for the whole time so you don't run out. And again, try not to have those processed snacks in the house at all if you can help it. But if you do, then like I said, keep those in the cupboard so they're less convenient, or they're used just for special treats, not for a daily after school treat or after supper or whenever you're eating them. And then you don't have to skimp on the dips for your fruits and veggie snacks either. I think people think, well, if I can't have it without my ranch, I'm not going to have it. I get it. But there's lots of other options too. Hummus is a great dip for carrots, for example. Peanut butter and apples are fantastic. And you can make your own ranch dip with Greek yogurt. So simple right here. Grab your plain Greek yogurt, mix in some of those herbs and spices. You got a dip that doesn't have extra preservatives, extra sugar, all that junk we don't need that are in some of those store-bought versions. And again, make this up, have it ready for the week, and you're good to go. Another good snack option is homemade treats. There are, again, a million options online. I added my go-to here that I've shared on webinars in the past. You simply mix up oats, peanut butter, ground flaxseed, honey, maybe some other flavorings that you like, coconut, dried fruit, that type of thing. And then you've got an easy snack for mid-morning, after school, after supper. Similar to the meal prepping and freezer meal I talked about, you can make these ahead of time and have them ready to go. Again, it's about using the time that you do have to help for the time that you don't have during the week. You have to take advantage, and it's going to take some planning, but it's worth it in the long run, I promise. All right, another couple snack ideas for you. Hard-boiled eggs. You're going to get some great healthy fats and good healthy proteins in there. And then smoothies are one too that kids really like and adults as well. Throw some fruit and veggies into a blender with some yogurt and a sweetener you like, and you've got a yummy snack that seems like a dessert, honestly, especially when you look at this one. That looks yummy. Um, let's give a few of the better pre-packaged options as well, as I know sometimes that's the way we need to go, right? I get it. Boom Chicka Pop is popcorn. That's a good, healthier option typically. Lara bars have very few ingredients. Those are going to be a good kind of granola bar for you. They still have a decent amount of natural sugars, but again, they're hardly processed at all. There's like 4 ingredients in there. Dried fruit and veggies. There's so many options with this. You've got, and it's getting more and more convenient too. Beets, chickpeas, kale, any fruit basically can be dried. Again, you just want to watch that ingredient list and watch that label. Make sure there isn't extra sugar added or oils added, because nuts are a similar thing. They're a super easy option as well, but a lot of times there can be some negative oils in there. So make sure you're reading that label. Make sure there's not oils. Make sure they're raw. Salt isn't a huge deal, but just raw nuts if you can have it. But good snack options for everyone in the family. All right, slow cooker recipe. I love these crazy easy chicken tacos. You throw the chicken in. You don't even have to thaw it at first if you don't have time. And you throw in those other ingredients, let it cook while you're at work or during the day if you're on a weekend. You don't have to shred the chicken till it's done. So you shred that right when you're done. Throw some lettuce, tomatoes, whatever you like on your tacos, and you're done. Boom. You can use leaf lettuce instead of a tortilla, or you can throw that chicken on a bed of lettuce to make it even healthier. But again, if you got kids or if you like the tortillas, go for it because you know you're going to have some good options with not a lot of added things there. All right, instant pot recipe. This is the big thing these days. Instant pot. Quinoa is a great source of protein, and it's a really similar texture to rice. So it's something that's pretty widely acceptable for those picky eaters that may be out there. So this recipe, simple. It just calls for cooking up that quinoa and then adding in whatever veggies you want. So there's some options on here. But again, I know I sound like a broken record, but with the internet, you really, really don't have an excuse of not having any ideas to try, whether it's slow cooker, whether it's instant pot, whether it's meal prepping or freezing meals. There is literally millions of recipes out there. And then, so last recipe for today, a meal prep freezer meal here. Egg muffins, they're so good and they're so easy. And you can have them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And again, you have so many different options with veggies, proteins, whatever you want to put in there. And then if you didn't check out last month's webinar on healthy swaps, make sure you check that out too. Coach Steph gave us some wonderful recipes to try. So give it a look and you'll be even more stocked up on good options, especially as we're getting into holiday time here. Just going to get busier. So meal prepping, using those things that make our lives more convenient for eating, is going to be so important when it comes to keeping us and our families healthy on the nutrition side. And then again, just bottom line, do what you can do. Don't try to be perfect, but look for those small changes, all these little things that can help the kids want to eat healthier, that can help us eat healthier, all those little things. It's just about progress, not perfection. Okay, let's move on to our next topic, exercise. Let's get that family moving. Again, many of us have created a lot of busyness in our daily lives, and sometimes, a lot of times, we forget to schedule in time for exercise in those busy lives. So finding ways to incorporate movement can require some creativity. So, but sometimes it doesn't, honestly. With toddlers or even older kids, the simpler the better. Just play, and you play too. I don't know about you, but my kids are always asking me to play with them. Playing catch, playing tag, or just exploring your backyard. These activities can benefit everyone in the family, young or old. Riding bikes is a wonderful family activity. If you have trails around you, take advantage. If you have younger kids, you run while they ride their bike and give yourself kind of a different workout. Change it up a bit. Now, I know that sometimes you have to get things done. You're not always going to have playtime, but it's going to be very rare that you will regret shooting hoops with your daughter or playing tag with your son. Take that time. They're not going to be young forever, right? And then when they do grow up and they have their own sports, you can use that time for you. If you can just drop them off, then go hit the gym or go for a walk while they're there. If you do have to stay at their practice or activity or whatever it may be, you can walk around the field, walk around the up and down the bleachers, walk around the halls. If it's a music thing at school, something like that, you can do body weight exercises. Listen, I know this can seem embarrassing to do this, but that's something you're going to have to work to get over. You can take advantage of so much time if you're watching your kids practice or at their activities. I started doing this during my daughter's softball practices, and it was awkward at first, but you know what? I got over it, and I realized I could get some really good workouts in during those practices. You are doing something to better your health. And if anyone has a problem with it, they're probably just a little bit jealous that they're not doing it. Or you may get people that will join it with you, which would be fantastic. And then, better yet, if you can volunteer to be a coach or help with whatever activities there may be out there, you can exercise with your kids, adding some quality time to a good workout as well. So lots of things to think about. Another option with fitting in some activity during our busy lives, make your chores into an exercise session. Do some heel raises at the sink. Do some lunges while you push the vacuum. Pick up the pace when you're picking things up. If you've got kids, make it a race to see who can pick up their room the fastest. Getting that heart rate up is great for our health, and doing it while being productive, doing chores, is a win-win, right? So again, just adding a little bit, going up and down the steps multiple times when you're getting the laundry rather than just once. Those are little things that add up, I promise. You don't have to spend 2 hours exercising to get benefits. Even a few minutes here and there makes a difference in our overall health. All right, next tip with making exercise a family event, make a tradition out of it. The annual Thanksgiving flag football games, 4th of July 5K, Christmas snowshoeing. The options, again, are going to be endless. And think about it. Most family gatherings are centered around food, right? If you can start to center your family get-togethers around activity a bit, it can change the way you eat. I'm not saying you can't have grandma's homemade pie, but if you only have one piece because you're headed out for the battle of the in-laws soccer game, it changes the mindset a bit, right? You can create weekly traditions as well, doing a new workout on Saturday mornings, making Wednesdays workout Wednesdays, whatever it may be. Make a consistent date to exercise with your family. And again, that might change. You have to be flexible with the dates, but try to figure out what you guys can do to make it fun, to use some of that time where you might all be sitting around on your phones or watching TV. Use that time to get some activity in. There's lots of different ways. Think outside the box and be creative. And then something to think about, if your family includes older members or ones that may not be able to do certain activities, make sure you think about modifying things or have other family members stick with them to make sure everyone feels included in exercise. A lot of times we end up skipping exercise altogether if one of us can't do something, right? But that shouldn't be how it is. We can figure out how to include everyone in some way, and it's going to keep everyone healthier. Okay, let's talk about if you have young kids who aren't quite old enough to ride their bikes while you run with them, for example. This is why the time we are in now is great with technology. You can exercise and access great exercise routines from anywhere. You don't have to go to a gym to get a great workout in. YouTube has fantastic exercise channels. They really, really do, for all different types of exercises, and they're free. If you have a smartphone, a tablet, a smart TV, it's right there at your fingertips. And if you know your baby won't sit still for longer than 10 minutes, then search for a 10-minute routine. They're out there. Do what you can is the key when you've got young kids. Don't pretend it's going to be perfect. Take that pressure off yourself. But do look for those small increments of time that you can take advantage to get a sweat going. And if you're really struggling, look to maybe change your routine. If you always used to exercise after work before kids, or if you don't have kids but you made a commitment after work that now cuts into your exercise time, maybe you have to get yourself out of bed a little earlier in the morning to get that workout in, or do it after the kids go to bed, or do it during your lunch at work. Going for a walk is a simple way to get steps in, and it can also give you a nice mental break from work as well over that lunchtime. The point is, any exercise, any movement is better than nothing, right? So whether your busy schedule comes from kids, work, whatever it is, you can find something to do, and you can find time to do that something, and it will benefit you in so many ways. Okay, stress. Stress, anxiety, depression, they're more common than we think. That I feel like the conversations are happening more and more about how prevalent it is, but we still have a long ways to go. And it's actually even more common in our younger generation now, unfortunately. So let's talk about a few things you can do to help your family deal with the stress that comes about. First, just make time to talk. Some of you will be able to go as far as scheduling time each week for either whole family or individual member talks, but it doesn't have to be a structured thing necessarily. Taking any opportunity that feels right to ask your kids, your spouse, any family members that are in your household about their day is huge when it comes to dealing with stress. We tend to internalize stress, right? And we don't want to talk about it very much. Teenagers specifically can be pretty terrible with this. But if you set that precedent early that you're available to talk, and if they're used to asking them how they're doing and kind of, really asking and not just asking on the fly and still paying attention to other things, it's going to be easier for them to talk about their stressors. The more you ask and the more they feel comfortable with it. This applies to adults as well. Sharing feelings can be awkward if you don't normally do it, but if you feel safe, you're going to do it more, right? And if you're the listener, making that speaker feel comfortable and creating a judgment-free environment is key to getting those you love to open up as much as they can. Some people are always going to be quieter. That's just how some of us are. But you can also get better at being a listener. You can read those nonverbal cues that are so important, that body language. We're losing this a bit with how much we're talking through technology, but body language says so much. And you being an active listener, putting that phone down, not watching the TV, sitting and paying attention to that person who's talking will help you be able to read between the lines sometimes when even they don't want to talk, right? So just make that time to talk and make that time an actual time for you to listen as well. And then next, don't take stress out on your family. This is really, really hard. We've all done it. You've had a long day at work and you just want to go home and relax. But your job doesn't end when you get home, when you have a family. If you're having trouble leaving work at work, it's time to start exploring some stress management techniques. So, for example, this can happen on your commute home. Listen to calming music or music you enjoy. Take that opportunity to think about what you're grateful for. Do some deep breathing, like box breathing, where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold that breath for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, and then you hold that exhale for a count of 4. So box breathing, or 4 square breathing, it's also known as. So use that commute, use those times that you have before you get home to de-stress. You're not taking some of those emotions out on your family. Or if it works with your schedule, stop and do your workout on the way home. Or even take 5 minutes, walk around the block to cool off if you know it's been a really stressful day. Take that few minutes so that it doesn't end up being a negative when you walk through that door. And then next thing for stress and working with the family with it, just be together. Don't discount the power of presence. And that's PRESENCE, not presence as in gifts. Big difference there. So even if it's not something structured like an activity you're doing together, just being together, being in the same room is a positive when it comes to creating that trust and comfort to help in times of stress. And then next one's a big one, share tasks. A lot of stress in families and marriages comes from disproportionate task loads. I'm not saying it has to be 100% even with every family member. That's not really realistic most of the time. But if you can decide on a compromise where everyone has their assigned tasks, it can take away a lot of stress because we know what's expected of us and we know what's expected of those around us. And then we don't start to resent each other if we feel like the other person's not carrying their weight, right? And you can rotate tasks too. Each week the kids have different things and they rotate it. Each week your boyfriend, girlfriend does this, you do that, whatever it may be. This is a prevention tool that's not really used enough, and it's a very simple one. Because again, you may not realize it, but there's a lot of stress that comes from just those simple daily tasks and activities. So if you can prevent this thing, it's going to help in the long run with maybe some bigger stressors that come up as well. And then create a stress toolbox. This is really simple, but it's fantastic. It's simply a list of things that you can do or that you like to do that helps you de-stress. It can be journaling. It can be meditation. It can be music. It can be playing with your pets, playing a board game, exercising. Whatever you and your family enjoy doing can be used to laugh, be calm, get some of those daily stressors worked out. And the key here is don't just use this toolbox when you're stressed. Make it a habit of doing something on that list every day if possible, or as much as you possibly can. That way, you have your de-stressors built in so it can help prevent some of those physical reactions to stressors that come about later. So if we've already got those relaxing, calming things in our schedule, it can help our body. It's already in that non-stress state, so it can help when other stressors come out. We're going to touch next month on this topic as well, emotional health for the holidays. So make sure you tune in. I'm going to get you much more detail on this topic. All right, last topic here, sleep. Ugh, sleep can be tough for us, right? Especially if you have young kids or pets for that matter. It's a given that sleep will not be great all the time. That's how it is. Also, if we have stress, if we have a lot of social engagements, or if we just get lost in social media, a lot of us have work to do in this area. So let's go over just a few things that can help. First, create a routine. This is so important, not only for kids, but for adults too. Ideally, you'd go to bed at the same time, but if you have a routine, you can use it even if your bedtime shifts due to work or activities or whatever you have going on. For example, kids, the routine can be bath, book, bed. So take a bath, read a book, go to bed. Those simple little things. It doesn't have to be that much either. It can just be book or bed if you need to. But it can include things like music, meditation, again, kind of that stress toolbox stuff. Anything that's going to be relaxing to your mind and to your body is going to be really important to create that routine, to start to get your mind mentally ready for bed. And the more you do it, the more your mind's going to respond to that and get ready for bed. And then the next thing is to think about your sleep environment. Your light should be as low as possible in your bedroom. Get some blackout curtains for the whole family. I know most kids will want a nightlight, some adults too, but try to make it as little as they can handle. Light from technology should be off as far as possible before bedtime, as those blue lights that are emitted can disrupt our sleep hormones. I know this is hard too, but just do the best you can. You know, if it's 15 minutes, fine. Try to move it up to 30. An hour would be ideal, but again, I know that's not realistic for everyone. So just do as much as you can to get rid of that technology before bedtime. That's why books are great. Real, regular books. They can still have something to do, but it's not emitting that light. I know there's settings on phones too that can cut down on some of that light. So just make sure you're paying attention to those details. Sound, if you're on a higher traffic road, or if you have family members staying up late or getting up early, if people are on different schedules, a sound machine or a fan is a fantastic way to go. Blocking out those outside noises can help stay in that deep sleep that's so valuable to us. And be sure you're not skimping on the bed and pillow quality either. Head to sleep.org to see recommendations on softness of beds, depending on how you and your family sleep, side sleepers, back sleepers, that type of thing. And make sure you place your pillow when it starts to let your head sink below, where that is in line with the rest of your body. You can kind of tell when they're too flat, right? And then again, using all the other tips today when it comes to nutrition, stress, and exercise will help you sleep better as well. It's all connected. Check out our webinar on sleep from last January on the blog as well. Lots more good stuff with sleep. Okay, guys, that's all I got for today. I know I threw a lot at you, so again, recording will be online, and you can download the slides on that post. I'll try to get that up this afternoon or tomorrow. But upcoming webinars, next month, I already talked about it, emotional health for the holidays. We'll talk about some of those stressors that we might not always think about. And then January, starting over again, time management. We'll talk about how it can help reduce stress and just set you up for a really successful new year. And then again, contact information here. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. That blog is where you're going to find the recordings, like I said, and you can register for upcoming webinars on there. And then you can give us a call if you want to chat further about anything on today, or if any other health things come up. You can give us a call or shoot us an email. We can set up a time to chat.